Check into what your friends got going on. Seeing if you are the brightest light in your circle, that is not a good look. There should be somebody that's smarter than you in your space that you can learn from. That's how you're going to go further.
I wear that privilege with honor because my parents worked so hard for me to go to private school, for me to go to college and then masters and all of the things that I have.
To anyone out there that recognizes that they are burnt out, you get to slow down and give your permission to figure out what it feels like to be still.
So being authentic, being transparent, having boundaries as far as knowing when to respond and when not to respond if you have the capacity to respond right now.
Welcome to episode 2 of our Queen B.E.E Talks Podcast. I am Shoa Sydni, one of the co-founders of It Takes a Village Collaborative and your host for this podcast. So I'm so excited to be sitting here with my sister in purpose, Sydni Turner.
Yes.
Let's do a virtual applause for Sydni. She has been a part of this work since its inception. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. But I do want to give her accolades because my good girlfriend, one thing she going to do is let you know her titles, who she is, and what she comes with. And she also makes sure that I do the same for myself.
Absolutely.
So it's only right that I go ahead and introduce her the right way. So Sydni Turner, M.A., is a passionate social justice leader, educator, and storyteller dedicated to transforming how communities heal and thrive. As a director of social justice initiatives at It Takes a Village Collaborative, she leads the To Be Me Wellness and Empowerment Program, supporting Black women and returning citizens in reclaiming their identities and building community through mentorship. A professor at Howard University and Bowie State University, Sydni bridges academia and advocacy by bringing real-world social justice work into the classroom. Her leadership has connected hundreds of Prince George's County and D.C. residents to resources, healing spaces, and opportunities for growth. With authenticity and compassion at the core of her work, Sydni continues to create spaces where people feel seen, valued, and empowered to tell their stories. So good.
That's so long.
Yes. How does it feel to hear your bio?
It feels like it's God. I feel like I was just having this conversation the other day, and I was like, oh, I thought I was going to be a juvenile probation officer. I don't know where I thought I was going to be. My mom always asked me, like, how do you do it? Like, I want to be you when I grow up because I just never imagined you to have all of this long list of stuff. And I'm just grateful. I didn't plan this. This is just like divine alignment through God's purpose for me. And I just accepted the assignment. Every time something happened, I'm like, okay, let me think about it. I'm like, God, is this you? Like, let me make sure this is not outside of your will. So accepting the assignment, it feels good to know that I'm on the path that God is opening doors for me. And I'm so grateful. So
yes. Heavy on accepting the assignment. I think that a lot of this work in our experience together has been that. So we're here to talk about what it means to be sisters in purpose, friends in business, and also just the reality of like overachievers. And yes, we have all of these titles and accolades, but it's not easy. It's not always beautiful. And it sometimes comes with the cost of burnout. So just having a real raw conversation around that. And I think when it comes to friendship, one of the things I want to talk about is just like, how do we go from being friends to then being sisters in purpose to now like business partners, essentially. And when I was sitting and thinking about this, I was like, how did this happen? But for me, I remember being in Professor Azeltine's class at Towson University. We met our junior year. I want to say it was junior year. Well, we knew each other before because we modeled together.
Shout out to JSM.
Yes, JSM at Towson. But we didn't really know that we were even in the same major. So we both studied sociology at Towson. And we had a race and crime class that allowed us to then have a inside out class where we went into Baltimore County jail and did classes with the people that were incarcerated. And I just remember being in the class and just like hearing Sydni, and like we always shared a lot of the same views. And I was just like, we're going to work together one day. And I planted that seed in, I don't even know what year that was, like
over 10 years ago.
2015.
Yeah.
And to see it evolve into this is
Yeah,
amazing.
it is.
But it also shows me just like the power in your words and what you bring forth. But that's my take.
Yes.
What's your take?
No, even when I was thinking about the podcast, and I was like, okay, when did we meet? Just like you said. But for me, I didn't know, once again, like, that this is the work that we were going to be doing, or that I was going to be doing. I had no clue that this was the trajectory of our experience. And so when we when you came to, no, I think for me it was really set in stone when you started going to Howard, because Shoa has a dual master's degree in public health and social work from Howard University. And when she started to tell her vision about like focusing on giving back to the community, but more so in a public health lens and focusing on wellness, I didn't even really see alignment at that point. But I just knew at that time, I thought I wanted to have my own nonprofit, and I wanted to focus on social justice, because back to that class, mass incarceration is a thing, like legal slavery is a thing. I had no clue.
Yeah.
Growing up as a privileged Black woman in Prince George's County, Maryland, we aren't really told about the truth of, we live in a bubble. We live in this like high populated of Black wealthy people who are just out here getting to it, and I thought that was the norm until I went to a white school taught by a white teacher who was telling me like, no, your people are in prison and they're legal slaves. And I was like, wait, what?
Literally.
And so that was what started me just like focusing on social justice. But when you went to Howard, and I was like, okay, I'm going to Howard too, like, so I went to Howard and we were both getting our masters at the same time, and that's when the vision started to kind of collide. And it was like, okay, like I can see how we can actually do what you said and you manifested however many years prior. And I was asked to be on the board and of It Takes a Village Collaborative back in 2019. And 6 years later, I never imagined that this is what the work is that we would be doing. Yeah. So it kind of just happened naturally to a certain extent. So I'm so grateful.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful to like take a moment to reflect on how we even got here, because we be so in the work that we don't even realize how much it's taken to get to this point. So yeah, I'll say for me it started at Towson, for her it started at Howard, but it was just that connection in college to be around people like-minded and people that come from similar backgrounds, two-parent household, siblings that love you and care, and that privilege to have a community and to be rooted in community, and then to work with so many people that is not their story, but they look just like us, right? And it's like, what is the difference? The difference is our parents made one decision, their parents made another, and it put us on a different path. So I'm so excited to just even dive a little deeper with you beyond our friendship, which is solid, but friendship in business. And I've never seen it as friendship in business.
Me neither.
I've just seen it as like, okay, we got the same vision, we got the same goals, we're very aligned. Sit you down, can you do this? what you want to do. But for you, like, what has been your biggest lesson around mixing friendship and business?
That's a good question. I would say the biggest lesson is to just be authentic and transparent. I feel like, and I know we'll talk about it, but the whole overachieving and strong Black woman persona and holding all the baggage.
Can I just say one thing? It's so interesting that it don't matter what walk of life you come from, you still have the cultural identity of a strong Black woman. So it doesn't matter if you were wealthy or if you were poor or whatever the case may be. There's always that strong woman that held it down for your family and pushed through. And then you took on that persona because you admired her, not even knowing or realizing all that she went through or it was carrying.
So we breaking that. Okay. Yes. But yeah, I would say being real. I think that's at the core of our work. So it's a little different where we're not managing multiple people, or we're not, focused on other things outside of wellness. Like we're literally focused on wellness, and our business is about wellness. So being authentic, being transparent, having boundaries as far as knowing when to respond and when not to respond if you have the capacity to respond right now. Because as she read off my bio, we do a lot of work. So taking the time to just step back. I myself have a hard time being present because I'm always thinking about the next thing. Like, what is the next thing? So I don't even feel like we've had a lot of large moments where we had to, have those come to a woman moments. Like I don't know. I just feel like when we say sisters in purpose, like it's really in purpose. Like God literally said, okay, you're going to go to this school. Y'all both are going to be at the same place at the same time. And 10 years later, 20 years later, 30, 40 years later, y'all are going to have created something so powerful. That we didn't even necessarily plan for.
Yeah.
So I think it just works and it flows. And we are similar. We call ourselves SNS. Like we have very similar backgrounds. But she is Jamaican. I claim Jamaica and pray for my country right now.
Yes, pray for Jamaica.
Oh my God. I was actually supposed to go to Jamaica in 2 weeks and it is canceled.
Damn.
Yeah, they canceled it. And we travel a lot too. We just have a lot of same similarities. So I think that literally works out where we aren't so different or we aren't aligned in our life. We're both not married, both don't have kids, both have similar job styles where we work from home and we have flexibility to live our lives. We both travel a lot together. So if we didn't have that strong alignment of like who we are internally or personally and then come together and they just like mash up like perfectly like this.
Yeah. And it's crazy. I know y'all probably like, okay, like, all right, it cannot be that perfect, but it really is. I can't recall a moment within the 6 years of us working together that we've had a disagreement or anything. And just hearing you talk, I'm thinking about just like the power of what you speak over your life.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we go into things with doubt, with fear, with all of this like hostile energy that then manifests into a negative experience. Yeah. But for us, we just went into it real open, like, yeah, let's get it, let's figure it out, let's do it. And I feel like that's the energy that's carrying us and allowing us to continue to show up in this work in such a positive way. Yeah. So I feel like a part of it too, for me, is as I'm sitting here, I'm learning that the reason that this works is because we pray together. We speak life into each other and what we're doing together. Yeah. And we're honoring who we are at our core. Yeah. And I would feel like we've never really had a disagreement or a difference, but in the work that we were building together, there was a point where Sydney was serving as our board chair. And I recognized, like, one, she stepped up in that role because that's her nature. Two, she was possibly the only person capable. And no shade, love my founding board members. And three, you knew that the work was going to be bigger and it was a bigger purpose for you in it. So thank you for that. But I recognize, and we both recognize, like, it's time for you to pivot. Like, we got to figure out how you're going to get out of this. And another thing that I'm big on as a leader is just creating space for people to figure out where they see themselves in the work. And that brings me to how we even are here doing this podcast on Metalworks. It's through Sydney's connections with Dr. Garrett. But in 2019, I was on the plane and I started thinking of a program called To Be Me. But I designed that program for youth in high school because I recognized that, like, there's a school to prison pipeline and we wanted to figure out a way to stop that and become a preventative support for youth in DC, Southeast and specifically. So pitched it to Friendship, was getting ready to go in, and 2020 hit and that thing was like, nope, schools are closed, you're not going in. And something came to my spirit and I was just reminded, like, no, the reason you started this nonprofit is because you wanted to work with people coming out of prison. And then I was like, Sydney, like, she's interested in that. So, like, see if we can design this for people coming out of prison. So I brought it to Sydney and she was like, yeah, let's do it. Literally. So we teamed up with the National Reentry Network for Returning Citizens. Our founding board member, Courtney Stewart, gave us a chance and he allowed us to work with the women in his program. And it's been history since there. And this year, 2024, we started having conversations with Metalworks. Metalworks is an organization that offers holistic mental health support for people with Medicaid. That's huge in Prince George's County. So you have culturally competent providers working with these individuals, and they also had a large population of people coming out of prison. So it was a no-brainer for us to team up. But with that, like, working with Metalworks, working with each other, like, how would you define collaboration over competition?
And it's crazy that you just said that, because when you were talking about how have we not clashed? And staying in our own lanes. Like, I don't even competition in the Black community is so detrimental. And I feel like, and I tell this to my students, to clients, anytime, like, having privilege is such a needed thing for us, but we have made getting it out the mud look so cool that that we have to compete with each other, because it's like, oh, I didn't get a handout.
It's a crabs in
like,
the barrel.
Yeah.
Really
but I tell people I wear that privilege with honor, because my parents worked so hard for me to go to private school, for me to go to college and then masters and all of the things that I have. So I've never had that competitive like mindset. But we're kind of raised and socialized to be in competition with our brothers and our sisters. But it takes a village collaborative. I feel like we are breaking the barriers. We are breaking those generational curses of not only our individual selves and community, but just like businesses. Like, why are we reinventing the wheel? The wheel is already there. Why would we not go and collaborate with other people who have already had skin in the game and are able to be successful? Why wouldn't we reach out to them and say, hey, like, you've been doing this for a long time. Can I get some advice? Can you consult with me? Can you tell me? I want to learn from you. I never want to be the person in the room that knows everything, and I'm not learning from other people. So I feel like people typically surround themselves, if they have that competition or competitive spirit, they want to be the know-it-all. Like, they don't want to learn from other people. And I'm fortunate enough to not have that mindset, or haven't had to be around people who only focus on trying to be the only one when we can all be the one, like, together.
So. No, 100%. And I think you hit the nail on the head when we talk about the crab in the barrel mentality, and how that's another social identity that we carry as Black people, where they put us up against each other. Exactly. And a lot of our behaviors and actions and how we show up in friendship, relationship, and community is very anchored in our slavery mentality.
100%.
So it's like, also in freeing yourself, you show up and you are able to connect and you're able to get further. I'm a firm believer in you go further together than you do by yourself.
Absolutely.
And this podcast is an example of that, like sitting in the power of your network, sitting in the power of connection, and recognizing, oh, you have something that we believe in. Right. Let's connect and make it bigger. And I think that whether it's on a personal level with how we show up for each other in friendship, or a professional level, it's really about collaboration, especially for the Black community, because we're all chipping at the same resources. And as we think about where we're at today, they just rolling everything back, and they're continuing to show us that it's us against us. Like, it's really us versus us. Right. So I've put this as a call to action for Black people. Like, tap in, check into what your friends got going on. Seeing if you are the brightest light in your circle, that is not a good look. There should be somebody that's smarter than you in your space that you can learn from. That's how you're going to go further. And let me tell y'all something. These white people, they believe in nepotism. And what that means is they put each other on. And I'm not going to go too deep, because we're not going to get too political, but like, it's all about who you know. So collaboration over competition all day, every day.
And I think even when we started to see the vision of like, what is this work? What are we going to be doing? We already created it and designed it at a different lens, where it's like, we are focused on collaboration. It's within our name, to the point where all of the people specifically within the social justice field, they provide the wraparound services. They provide the housing and the employment and the identifications and the transportation for people who are impacted by mass incarceration. And so we realized, like, but what about their wellness? Like, they are confined to a space that probably got them there because of the trauma that they are unhealed from.
Exactly.
Then they're traumatized being incarcerated, and then they get out and they have a long checklist of stuff that they're expected to do: curfews, restrictions, trying to reunify with their family. Who is keeping them grounded? Like, we realized that there was a gap in that, where nobody is really pouring into the wellness of people who have been impacted by this system that was created to impact us in the way.
And when we talk about wellness, we talk about it holistically, beyond just like going to the doctors, going to a psychiatrist, going to a mental health physician that possibly doesn't look like you or is burnt out. Because a lot of things that we've noticed too is that people that work within the social service system, they got a lot. They're carrying a lot. So they too need wellness. So we come in as that like hub and that resource to increase access to people that have the capacity,
Right.
and also exposing them to things that are innately theirs.
Right.
We just did a session at Prince George's County Community Release Center, and we're working with the men, and they had a closeout celebration, and we had them doing an indigenous practice of tapping, which is a Korean practice.
Yeah.
Tapping, breathing, shaking, moving, and they were all into it because it was so freeing.
Right.
But if we didn't come into that space, they would have never been exposed to that.
No.
So it's about that. It's about collaboration, and our board chair actually led that. So again, every single thing that we do is about lifting each other up and moving forward together.
Yeah.
But now to the piece around burnout,
Oh God,
overachieving, and just that being like a nature of Black women.
Mm.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Strong Black women. How are you continuing to personify that in your daily life? Even as much as we say we want to shed it, how are you still showing up in it?
That's a hard question. Cause
no,
I'm trying.
Not. No, it's not, because you was just
I'm
trying to get Wi-Fi to cancel your class. So
because I'm trying to actively not do it, but
okay.
I mean, I think there is and I was just telling my clients this. I was like, balance is not realistic. Yeah. I'm like, balance is not realistic. Like at one point you may feel like you're physically balanced. But that strong woman, I mean, obviously I witnessed my mother and my grandmother. It comes from maternal, intergenerational, just doing too much.
I love that. Maternal, intergenerational, just doing too much.
Way
doing
too
much. Yep.
And so I grew up with a mother who was a full-time worker. She was a wife. She had me and my sister. She was taking care of her mother, her grandmother, her grandfather, like her brother. Like my mother is a full-time just caregiver, like servant to the world. And I thank God for my father retiring her 7 years ago.
Yes.
Actually 8 years ago.
Yes. Shout out Papa Turner.
Okay. Shout out to my dad for realizing like, okay, enough is enough. Like you have done your work and sit down. And she still don't know how to sit down. But I grew up witnessing that. And so it was when I got my full-time job of being a background investigator, and I have been working from home for 8 years. And I was so young, and I was like, oh, I have so much free time. Like, oh, this doesn't feel right. I need to be doing more. And that's when I went back to school, got my master's, and now I have 5,000 jobs. So but once again, God, I never applied to no job that I have current to present day. Like, that network, power of the network. People like, hey, we think you'll be a good fit for this. You could do this. You could do that. I was like, I'm gonna check with God. We gonna see if he say yeah. And he said yeah, so now I'm burnt out. But
don't blame God for that. That's your choices, your decisions.
But that's what I'm saying. Like accepting the assignment comes with the territory, really, where you gotta decide, does it make sense right now to do this, or does it make sense to do that? Do you need to pull back from traveling once a month? And that's where I'm at right now, where I thought I was living. I
could have told you that
young,
makes sense, but I love that for you when you decided to do that.
Yeah.
Sydney was taking a trip once a month because she could. And I love that. I love that. But realistically,
it's not realistic. Yeah. Like, I mean, it happened. It was reality, but was it smart? Because it was realistic for sure. It just wasn't smart. Yeah. Especially because I'm teaching 3 classes right now. This is the first time that, well, for one, I didn't think I was going to be a professor. So that's the jobs that I have created burnout, but they've been excited. I'm excited to do the work. I feel the impact, but then when I get home, it's like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have time to do your meditation or do your yoga or get back on your routine or you got to wake up earlier in order to knock out your me time. And so, I reject the baggage. I reject the strong woman persona. I want to free myself from it. I'm freeing myself from the perception of trying to uphold what I saw my mother do while also trying, because it's like I'm single and I don't have no kids, so why would I be
and what is it going to look like when you have kids?
That part. So I've also thought like, okay, I have all the free time now, let's just accomplish all these things so then I can say, ooh, okay, your mama was that girl, like she was able to do all this and all of that, but right now, look, the strong woman, Black woman persona is is being still and being present for me. Those have been, I've been preaching this to so many people, even though
she even got a tattoo that says be
literally
still.
got a tattoo that said be still, and I'm still not still.
My sister said she should have put it on her forehead so she could see it every day.
Very well should have, for sure.
I think for me, similar, I have my grandmother here who I dedicate my wellness journey to. I have her on our little altar because when I sit back and think about it now, my grandmother was running a daycare at 84.
Sheesh.
And it never seemed like anything to me because she looked so good doing it. Right. She was running a daycare. She was still being a housewife, cooking dinner, making the best jerk chicken. And then my mom was right behind her, tending to her, caretaking a little bit. But my grandma was so independent that she didn't really have to show up for her. But then my mom was doing the same thing. Right. Teacher by day, mother by night, wife by night, tending to the home, tending to the family, being that support. And it wasn't until recently that I realized, like, that is not sustainable. And my mother has 6 daughters and 1 son. Yeah. Or 7 daughters and 1 son. 7. So not only was she all of this for our family, she was all of this for our community, right, for our church, for the people around us. And thankfully, till this day, my mom is still standing. She's still healthy. She's still moving. She's still shaking.
Shout out to Mama Phil Potts.
Yes, but at 75, it's like a struggle every day to get her to sit down. And I have taken up breaking that cycle of strong Black women by leading by example. Yeah. So I've had to put boundaries up. I've had to be like, oh, no, I'm not attending that family event. It's no shade to y'all. I just don't got the energy, and I can't be there. Yeah. I've had to get comfortable in calling my sisters out about how they're perpetuating the same cycles. And it's foreign to us. Yeah. Like, Jamaicans, they always joke, like, y'all always got 6 jobs. Yeah. And that's something that I've been working since I was 15. Like, 14. You know, so it's like I didn't know anything. Out in college, I'm working 3 jobs, full college schedule, like all of that. And now I'm at a point in my career where privilege, that you have an opportunity to step back and focus on one thing, but I still find myself pulling in 3 different things. So it's definitely, I would say, to anyone out there that recognizes that they are burnt out, that they are overworked or overachieving, you get to slow down and give your permission to figure out what it feels like to be still. Yeah. I was having a conversation with some Black women, and they were like, I think, like, stillness is a threat to Black women. And it is, because it's counter to who we are and what we've been taught. Yeah. I did a training recently that was talking about where the persona of strong Black women came from. And it came from us not wanting to align with our white female counterparts because of how they were treated and seen by their partners. And we wanted to show that we could show up in all aspects. Also, we were conditioned to do more than one thing. We're cleaners by night, cooks by day, mothers in between. So all of it. But for you, how do you recognize it in your body when you're about to feel burnt out, or what are the signs for you?
Oh, it's currently happening right now. I'm in it right now. Lack of sleep, restlessness. I always tell people I have so many tabs on in my head, running all at the same time, and realizing, like, okay, no, this is just way too much. Like, I don't have anxiety. I'm not depressed. I do not have any of those diagnoses, but I can feel physically like, oh, your stomach hurts because in our gut, we hold a lot in. And so I'm like, okay, no, maybe you need to slow down. Maybe you need to fast. Maybe you need to go on a detox. Like, clear it out. Whatever it is that you've been holding in, you need to clear it and cleanse. But I recognize, like, rest is uncomfortable. And we realized this when we went on our wellness retreat to St. Lucia. Like, we don't know how to sit still. Like, we were literally conditioned and beaten in our head for generations to say, like, y'all need to be working or you need to earn your rest. And we realized, like, sitting still is uncomfortable. So, but I do like my me time. I've been journaling. I've been coloring a lot. So just feeling that inner child where it's just like, I don't got to worry about the next big accomplishment or the next grant to write or grading my students' papers or creating a lecture. Like, I'm gonna sit in color right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pour into myself because it's just too much.
Yeah, so like you said, like getting back to your childlike self, getting
Yeah.
back to just allowing yourself to do things and just be comfortable in it.
Right.
And being okay with being uncomfortable in your stillness.
Child.
I think that in the beginning it is very foreign.
Yeah.
And like she mentioned, when we was in St. Lucia, like the ladies was kept finding stuff to do, and I'm like, this is a rest retreat. But rest looks different for everybody else. That's what we also found.
Right.
But just hearing women say like, oh, to lay in bed makes my body hurt. Yeah, because it's a foreign position.
Right.
Like you're not used to just
Sitting
being
still.
in that space. So knowing that in the beginning, when you're trying to break out of this strong Black women mode, it's going to be uncomfortable. It may even be painful, and you may also lose some relationships. But let me tell you, every relationship that you lose was not worth keeping.
That part.
And they're not supposed to go with you on that next point of your journey. And also encouraging you to find like-minded women that are trying to reassimilate, reimagine, redream up what it means to be a Black woman. And there's nothing wrong with being strong. It's about being strong in your lightness. And how do you do that? So I think that it's really important for us to be in community around that. And that's why we have this work at It Takes a Village. But I want to know, like, why do you feel like it's important to have community when breaking that mold and when trying to make that transition into not being as strong and being soft and being feminine? You know, we hear a lot about soft girl era. So how does community play a part in that?
Yeah, I think that we were told, well, stay in this house, don't leave this house, right? So it's important because we are all going through the same thing, whether you have privilege or not. We have some type of interconnection. We're somehow, some way related to the same exact issue. So starting the conversations is the first important part. So, and that's what It Takes a Village started as, like having conversations, calling people Queen Bees, because we have to uplift each other, right? And so having like-minded women around you who can relate to you, who could just be a listening ear, who can potentially give you advice, who could connect you to the next woman who they know has also experienced the same thing, is such an important thing. Sisterhood is so important. And I have a sister and we're only 2 years apart. So luckily we grew up very close together. So she's like my built-in bestie.
Yeah.
But to have other women, she's a labor and delivery nurse. So she don't know what it's like going into prisons, just like I don't know what it's like delivering a baby. But having a sister in purpose who knows what it's like, and the burnout and the stress that can come with people who have been traumatized based off of their personal experience.
And then they trying to traumatize you.
We can heal together.
Literally.
Instead of somebody who may not relate. They may and I always say, people, because I have been the person that people come to and I'm the village for other people. People don't typically, when you're like the strong friend, and this goes back to that strong Black woman, when you're the strong friend, people don't really check on you, right? They pick
or
up
how about when you start to express emotions, they start to be like, girl, are
like,
you
what's
okay?
wrong with you? Yeah, because you
like,
got on this persona, this mask where you're just like polished and prim and proper,
and it's like they can't, if you're falling apart, well, what am I supposed to do?
Right, if
I'm coming to you.
Right. Yeah, but they don't ask. And I've had to set this boundary where I have to tell people, like, when you pick up the phone to call me, and if I answer, you need to say, hey, do you have the capacity and time and space to receive what I'm about to give to you? And I'll be like, yes, but do you want me to just listen right now, or do you want advice? Like, what is it that you're seeking? And I feel like when you as Black women start to create your village and the conversations, make sure that you are asking the person, or you are being asked. Or you are being asked, like, hey, like, do you have the time to listen to me vent right now? Because we can be so new and just like, oh, I'm about to tell everybody my business. Like, it feels so freeing the first time, where you may be, dumping too much on people that you didn't even ask permission to dump on.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh, I mean, you just said so much. There's so many sound bites in there that I could go ahead and tackle. But I think one of the biggest things is boundaries.
Yeah.
And getting comfortable in your boundaries, and you're going to need them in this season. Having a community or like-minded individuals that are going on the same journey as you, so you can lean on them. Not even lean on them. I had somebody say, like, we're not leaning on each other, we're beside each other. Yeah. So we're walking side and side, hand in hand. Yeah. And also recognizing that it's okay to not be okay. And I think that as strong women, you have to get comfortable in your emotions and your vulnerability because no one around you is expecting that from you. So they can't make you comfortable in it because that's not, you're making them uncomfortable. So I've had to learn that the hard way, that like me expressing emotions and being emotive shocks people and they're not going to be able to hold me the way I need to be held. But if I get comfortable in it and I get familiar with it, when I express, I don't care how they respond.
Right.
I remember I was crying at the retreat. My sisters was looking at me like, girl, you okay?
And
you all right?
Like, ooh, my sister, she been holding in.
But I felt fine. I felt good. I felt free after. So that's really powerful.
Also, give yourself grace. I feel like this is a new experience. And as strong Black women, we don't give ourselves grace. We literally have high expectations that we put on ourselves to uphold for everybody else, that if we decide, okay, I'm gonna move still today, and I don't because it's not, something else may have came up, don't beat yourself up. Literally give yourself grace because you deserve it. You deserve rest. It's your birthright. We've preached that a lot. That rest doesn't have to be earned. You are born to rest, literally. We are born in stillness in the womb. So give yourself that grace to make the mistakes, or this is not going to be a perfect journey, so please don't strive for perfection.
Now we're gonna wrap it up. This was such a great conversation. I hope to all the folks suffering from burnout, if you're an overachiever, if you're a strong Black woman, give yourself permission today to just pause for 1 second, take a breath, and ask yourself, how can you shift that identity? I'm going to move us along to our honey reflections. So as you know, you've been at Queen B.E.E Talks. At any event we do our honey reflections. So we have ahas, appreciations, acceptances, or apologies. So let's see what yours is.
Okay. All right. I have appreciation. So one thing I am appreciative is for Shoa. Of course.
Now she want me to start crying on this episode.
So, I mean, this is just natural. I feel like this conversation has been so good, but I'm appreciative because, for one, God brought you into my life and I didn't know that I needed you. I really didn't. Like, I thought, oh, I want to have my own nonprofit, and oh, I want to, give back to the community. And then she's like, oh, me and my sister are doing this. Like, would you like to be a part of it? And that goes back to that competition component where I could have been like, no, girl, like, I want my own. But the collaboration component, the sisterhood, the purpose was so aligned where I'm like, immediately, it was like, like, absolutely. And look at where we are. So I'm so appreciative of God first for bringing us together, but also like making everything come full circle that I had no clue about. So like, yes, I wanted my own, but now it's better when we're together. And I could not imagine like doing this on my own. Like, she's a great leader and she's teaching me how to be a leader. And so I'm so appreciative of you. So.
Thank you, Sydney. I'm not gonna cry because I am a strong Black woman. I got aha. An aha I had during this episode was just how we're literally walking in what we planted and what we've said, and also that we speak positivity into our experience, and we've never spoken negatively about this experience whatsoever. So we continue to have we just continue to surpass our wildest dreams because we're speaking that into what we have and what we're creating, and also our friendship and our love. And I feel like we've just become closer. And I think that one of the things I realized is, like what you said earlier, is the work we do requires us to be transparent, to be vulnerable, to be open, to be real. Like, we can't hide behind nothing. It's like, that's counter to how we operate. So I think that also is an aha, that I know this, but to see it through this conversation, that vulnerability is a superpower. And if you lean into it, it will free you and allow you to do exactly what God has planned for your life. So thank you so much, sister. This is so good.